Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 98. The crew here braved the snow and the low temperatures, and we are still here at PCA headquarters around the table. I have, of course, Manny and Damon, Damon Lowney. We have Robert Forsyth at the controls. I'm back to the podcast, but then maybe in a little bit different capacity. We have the owner of Group C Curation, and we'll get into that in a minute. Casey, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
All right, so let's, we've got...
You may want to clarify for the Northerners who are going to laugh at us when we say we got 4 inches of snow and we're acting like we just made it through a blizzard.
The federal government was closed. Schools were closed. I mean, it was a big ordeal to get...
Heavy rain was shut down the federal government around here.
5 inches of snow, and, like, we were in shock here.
Yeah, and then it got cold, and now it's like...
Now it's all ice.
Icy. So.
Yeah, it's really icy.
All right, so... let's run through. You put together a pretty hefty agenda here, Mr. Manny. So let's quickly touch upon what we did last week. You go first.
I didn't do a whole lot other than cars and coffee, and where we got to see your little Honda Moto
Compacto.
Be the star of the show, since there wasn't a whole lot of cars at Cars and Coffee, and the weather wasn't that bad. But at one point, everyone who showed up was sitting there staring at this little Moto Compacto, which is electric, not gas.
Mm-hmm. Will had a good time on it.
Say Will,
but what confused people was because you put Porsche support vehicle, so you could leave it here in the office since you run out of space in your house.
Yeah, right.
But people were coming up to me saying, "Porsche makes that little thing," and I had to say, "No, it's a Honda." He just stuck the sticker on it. It's not a
that is
not
really
a
awesome.
Porsche.
Yeah.
So that is a Honda. There is a probably wait list at your Honda dealer if you want to go buy it. So along with your GT3 allocation wait list, you can be waiting for this little, what's it called, Moto Compacto?
Moto Compacto. My buddy wanted one, and right now they are expecting it end of February for the next round. So,
what we did do later that day was we had our Chesapeake Region after holiday party, which is a lot of fun. Bob Gutjahr and I host this event. It's basically an excuse for us to get together and play Yankee Swap. And it's been going on for 30 years, I think. And I keep on telling them, if you want to replace us, you should replace us. There's no hard feeling. But they keep on asking us to come back to run this Yankee Swap where you bring a Porsche-themed gift, and people are, it's like the Hunger Games in that room. No one's afraid of stealing stuff, and they conspire. And fortunately, there was no hard feelings. There was a lot of great gifts at the event, a lot of cool posters and prints, and one of the posters was a signed Rennsport 7 poster that wasn't open till almost the end.
Wow!
It sat because it wasn't framed; it was rolled up. So all the other posters were framed. So that's what people are opening up. This one was actually opened up by the person who brought it, and she was like, "This has to get into the mix before the end." And so that I think would have got stolen a lot. But there was the Peterson Museum print that was their event that's going on, that was framed. I think the Pittsburgh Grand Prix, that event, they had brought the tickets. So anyway, 70 people sold out. It was and
a new venue this year.
No, the same venue they used.
Oh, was
before.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, they can. It's a restaurant, and so they can only fit so many people in between the two rooms. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of smiling people. Alcohol does that. Wasn't an open bar, though.
How about you, Damon?
Well, I didn't do a whole ton of car stuff, but, a little bit of driving. So my house is a little more empty. No cat in there anymore. Oh. So, my ex-girlfriend.
So can I say it? Can I just say she got the cat?
She got the cat. Okay. Well, it was for her in the first place.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So that was kind of sad to see that go. But now I don't have to worry about. I'm finding like I don't have to close. I can leave a door open when I go out to get stuff in the the car. I don't have to close the door. I can put the toilet seat all the way down so they don't jump in and drink it.
Oh my god!
Like it's.
So I'm guessing you're not going to get another one.
I'm probably not.
Yeah.
I love cats, but when you think about it, it's
a responsibility.
They are the least maintenance animal around.
Yep. Yeah, they are.
But they get into stuff. Oh my gosh.
They tore up one of my. Were actually more than one piece of furniture.
Yeah.
It's just. Don't need a cat. But so no car stuff. I will say when it snowed and I didn't have any salt, but I figured I'd go get some in case it got really cold and the snow got hard and icy. And $32 and I have a long driveway and it's just like you're sprinkling money onto your driveway.
Yeah.
You use it once and then it's done.
Yeah.
But
But you kind of need it so you don't slip and slide.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, so I have a question for you all. When snow piles up on your car, of course, my wife's like, just get Jonah and you guys should go out and, clear the snow off the car. Are you very specific on how you remove the snow from your car?
The Z3, no, well, first of all, the Porsches are all garage, so I don't have to remove any snow off the Porsches. The Z3 has crappy paint, crappy top, so I use a broom.
I get my gloves, my snowboard gloves.
That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is if I don't supervise my kids, that they'll take their gloves or they'll take the brush with the hard nylon bristles and just go to town and not just kind of, lightly push off the snow and they'll dig into the paint. But if you don't have one of these, this is one of my favorite tools. It's called a snow broom. It's actually like a foam piece, and you just lightly
Just
push.
don't get it caught on your rear wiper. Or your rear wiper.
Yeah.
I
And
used to use those at the dealership.
you use that at the dealership. Yeah, that's what I love. So that's my favorite tool, and
You use that just on the glass or the bodywork?
the bodywork too. But I don't like dig into it. Like I just get the top layer.
I use a broom.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
See, honestly,
Two
some
black
Gore-Tex
cars.
gloves with some
No.
leather on the palm, like that.
I can see the
All the
scratches on the clear
misdeeds are
coat.
excused when it's snow. It
No.
doesn't scratch when there's snow on it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
All right. So let's see. We got. I actually did a cool photo. You know how I'm in search for a 356. I was at RBS Garage with Bogdan doing some social media stuff with him, and there was a 356 being restored, and I got to get my little pose there. And no, that is not my car, but still cool nonetheless to be able to take that photo.
Did you get stuck?
You know what? The thing is going through there. So it sounds simple enough. It's just pop your head through. But they were doing some like tin work in there. And he's like, be careful. Don't scratch yourself. And because of my stint, I'm on blood thinner. So it's like, I'm like, it was almost like a life or death thing getting through that.
Well, it's not going to come out like an arterial cut or anything. What do you?
I was worried. I'm like,
I was
the
on
car's
blood thinners at one
I'm
point,
so
too.
worried about getting a cut. So I kind of snaked my way up and took the photo. Anyways, all right, let's get into. Oh, this is one that's very near and dear to your heart, Casey. And I know Jonathan Sieber and the crew worked very hard with this. And this is the Porsche Restoration Challenge. In fact, Porsche Silver Spring, in part of your efforts, you guys were Area East champions.
We were. So the last time I was on here, we had kind of wrapped things up. We're very close to wrapping things up, and then we're heading to Chicago. So Chicago went great. I was super nervous, like I always am. It's one of my better traits. Maybe gives me a little bit of better attention to detail, but my wife was there, remarkably supportive. My good buddy and our Goldmeister technician, right there, you see Yuri Gora he's a shop foreman at Porsche Silver Spring. That's a rough picture of me. That's a stressed out Casey, but that was us winning Area East Individualization Champion, which was pretty rad. And then we were able to get the car to go to Rennsport, which I saw everybody except for Vu, of course. But I saw Damon and Bogdan a bunch of times and Manny a bunch of times. We did really great there. We did not win. From what I was told, there was a handful of points in between us and the group that won our segment there, but it was a tremendous experience. I got to meet some really amazing people. The guy that we based the car on, I got to meet him. I got to meet Mark Webber. I got to meet Patrick Long, some of the Porsche family, the Roof family. I mean, it was just a tremendous experience. Went out there with my good buddy Steve Postal, who runs Porsche Hunt Valley up here, and my buddy Joe Driscoll that works for Porsche Cars North America, and Yuri as well went with me out there. You can see us there right by, turn 2. We had a great time, and the car really fit in. Unfortunately, there were no other Turbo Cups present, but the guys from Dossport were there. Ray Schaefer was there. All the people that I used as motivation, and Bob Miller as well, to really learn a lot about the 944 Turbo Cup. And it was a great ending to that. And yeah.
Well, speaking of ending, that's kind of a close to...
That's a segue.
Well, chapter in your life, right? And what a way to close that chapter, and you're on to the next.
So October 17th was my last day as being a Porsche brand ambassador in an official capacity. I started in college working as a kind of a lot technician, porter guy at a Porsche dealership in Ohio, and worked a little bit as an audio engineer, and then
Say for my favorite channel, right?
in National Public Radio. And then, in fall of 2006, I answered a Craigslist ad and worked as a salesperson at then Tischer Porsche, and then Tischer Porsche became Porsche Silver Spring, and I was there until my last day was October 17th of 2023, almost 17 years to the day.
Wow.
And it was
I couldn't believe it when I heard it.
yeah, it was a great experience. I was dealing with some health issues. I've got some family health issues that I'm working through as well. But in the end, I really have a huge passion for historic vehicles, as I've clearly, I mean, as a sales manager, managing a restoration project at a Porsche dealership, those two things don't really coincide. But my passion really shows through. So I created a new endeavor for myself moving forward. That's a bit of a startup, and I hope to see it work out.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about Group C.
So Group C curation. Group C is a couple of things. Of course, my name is Casey, so it starts with the letter C. Group C is also my favorite era of motorsport. So I spent a lot of time with the Group C cars, and my buddy Malcolm with the 962 that won Le Mans. I got to see, there might be a picture there somewhere, Robert, of me and the Dower 962 at Rennsport that I made a sticker of, and we sold a bunch of to earn money for our a local animal rescue. But basically, it's a couple fold. The time that I spend the most of my focus on is I manage a collection for the Magden brothers, who are local, who you guys are probably all familiar with. They also started a very high-end bespoke car dealership. So I assist them with the day-to-day operations there. But the passions that I have are in historic vehicles and taking care of people's collections. So I assist them with their rather vast collection that ranges from anywhere between old Mini Coopers to brand new GT3 RSs. I also have another client that I've been afforded to drive some of the most amazing 911s, anywhere from 73 RSs to the other day I clocked about 80 miles in a 2011 GT2 RS, a car that I'd never even driven before that moment. That was a funny story that I don't need to get into. I'll tell you guys later about my time with that car back in 2011. But and I'm also managing a couple of restoration projects. One specifically with a customer with some different restoration partners locally. I'm working with Bob and Rich over at Speed, who might have been on here before.
Yeah,
but
we know them well.
They're great guys, and restoring a car is a big deal. Working to bring a client's vision to life is certainly when I did the restoration projects, it really brought out all of the different aspects that need to be handled, and not necessarily by one group. So it's almost finding people that you can trust to work with, and then assembling all those people to deliver a final product is something that I really enjoy, and I enjoy that process. I've always been a real process-oriented person, so moving into that world, it's been really rewarding. And of course, working with the Magden brothers and their endeavors is bringing really cool cars to light. And we've got a bunch of really interesting Porsches that we're currently representing for sale. It's very different than working with Porsche, whom I loved for a very long time. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a day someday if Jonathan called me from Porsche Classic and said, "Hey, Casey, you want to help out a little bit?" I'd say, "Yeah, probably."
Well, you have a unique skill set, you have unique experience, and you have a great vast wealth of connections. And I think for people that have collections or that, focus their time on their business or whatever, but their hobby side, they're looking for someone that they can trust and make the right decisions for them to either curate cars, restore their cars. I mean, you're the guy. So congratulations to you. I mean, it's hard to step away from something that you've been doing so long that you absolutely loved. But there are priorities in your life, and there are things that you want to do that maybe you're kind of cherry picking the fun stuff that you used to do when you were at Porsche Silver Spring, and now that's what you're going to focus on.
Yeah, and I would, of course, have to give a huge shout out to my wife, who has been remarkably supportive, leaving something that was, guaranteed income, pretty much guaranteed income for a very long time, and her support of me to make this transition, I couldn't have done it without.
Yeah, I think at this table, except for Damon, we all have to thank our wives that they are extremely understanding of what we do.
I told my wife once when I was racing, I could be out there at bars and chasing women and drinking.
No.
And her response to me was, that would be a lot cheaper than racing.
Yeah, right.
No, and this is I talked the last time I was on here that I consume a lot of podcasts, and being on this podcast has been greatly motivational, but you guys motivated me. I'm actually starting a podcast with some friends of mine called Radio Delete. We record our first episode on Friday, and it's going to be fun because you guys have shown me that you can not only practice, but you can do. So
yeah. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So we want to get into a question that Manny and I and people that call into the office quite a bit. But before we get into that, I want to just remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. Any comments that you place out on there, we certainly read them and we respond to them when we see them. We want to remind you to take advantage of all of our email newsletters by going to pca.org and check out eBrake News, Mart Fresh News, and Performance News. So the question that we often get, Casey, and the reason why we wanted you here, because now you're kind of like, you've been in it, but you don't really have a stake in it, and you can kind of be more open to answering these questions, because Porsches, let's face it, like one of the biggest fears of someone buying a Porsche has to do with what happens if something goes wrong. You buy a new car, you have a factory warranty, for the most part, you don't sweat it, right? But let's say you want a used Porsche. What are our options there? Manny, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, obviously, probably people listening to this have heard of CPO, which is Porsche Certified Pre-Owned Program, which is a very nice program, one I recommend to people if they're looking for a used Porsche. It's only available at Porsche dealerships. But one of the things I always tell them, in case you may look at it differently, is I tell them to still get someone to look at that car. Just because it's CPO doesn't mean you can walk away from it and don't worry about anything. Because Casey, why isn't every car that a Porsche dealer sells CPO'd?
So there are a number of different reasons. Traditionally, the largest reason is cost. Mm-hmm. In addition to just adding just take a step back. I've never owned a certified pre-owned Porsche before, but I have represented thousands of them. Mm-hmm. The thing that I always explain to people is CPO really comes down to the amount of effort that is put into a car to verify it. In order to certify a car, the car needs to have proven history. If the history cannot be proven, the car needs to be fully brought up service-wise. For instance, a car that I care for now that I sold before was a 2018 GT2 RS. Okay, it is one of the most expensive Porsches to service because all of the things that are that you need to exchange, plugs, all those sorts of things are behind all kinds of tubing, behind turbochargers, all those things. It's remarkably labor intensive. It's kind of the reverse of a GT3 in that regard. Let's say you have a 4-year-old GT2 RS, and according to everything that's stated, 4 years, regardless of miles, the spark plugs need to be changed. It's very expensive service, thousands of dollars. So you can effectively buy a certified car that gives you this extra warranty. You can buy 2 years and add another one. But the reason why some Porsche dealerships do not certify cars is because if you have a 1,000-mile car and it's 4 years in, they don't feel like spending the $4,000 and adding that to the cost of the vehicle in order to then resell it and make less profit. So I'm of the mindset that if you can't prove a car has been serviced, it needs to be serviced. The metallurgy of exchanging spark plugs and things heating up and things cooling, of course, they need to be pulled out. Last thing you would want is something to be fused. The other reason that a Porsche dealership wouldn't certify a car is because of age. A certified, now keep in mind the knowledge that I have is based through October of last year. They always revisit things at the beginning of the year, so this is from my experience. But a car has to be 13 calendar years back to certify. So if a car has exceeded that, it cannot be certified. So at this point, you can go back to, you can certify a 2012 911 997 Turbo if you chose, as long as it's within 13, I guess, calendar years of when it was originally sold. That would be something to point out.
So back to your example with the GT2, it would be posted, let's say, on the website as a not certified car. So if I were to be interested in that car, but I felt like I would only get it if it was certified, can I then negotiate with the dealership to say, hey, what would it cost to get that car to be certified?
That's on a per dealer basis. Traditionally, when a vehicle is marketed, from my recollection, they want you to make the choice instantly. Is the car going to be certified or is it not going to be certified? They don't like the ability to make that change. I think they want the dealership to make a cohesive decision at the beginning and not like, let's say, oh, it's certified, but I don't want to sell the car as certified. Can you give me a better deal on it if it's not certified?
I don't think they want to. They don't want a sign on the window, car window, that says certified, non-certified price.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there's a document called a buyer's guide that is a federal document that is required to be stuck to the window of a car being sold that says this is the warranty that is attached to this particular vehicle. And like, I'm not a lawyer. I do represent cars now that are not certified because I'm not at a Porsche dealership, but it's important that that distinction is made early, and that is something that is required of a Porsche dealership.
Interesting. So are there things when the car comes to the dealership and they have to make that decision, are there things about a car, you talked about history, but are there other things that would disqualify a car from being CPO?
Sure. Cars that have been tuned cannot be certified. Cars that have any over revs over stage 3 cannot be certified. There are some caveats there where a certain amount of hours have to pass between the time that ignition occurred. And then some dealerships, if they're willing to do it, can work on they can do a leak down and compression test to verify that there is no damage within the engine. Like I said, these might have changed, but this is from my recollection of what was happening.
When you say tuned, what does that mean? Does that mean like tuning the ECU or
Correct.
tune like throwing on an exhaust?
So a car cannot be... Boy, I'm going to step in something here.
Oh, yeah.
So
Just whatever you're comfortable with.
Well, you can't put exhaust on. I know that.
So a car cannot be sold, like a thing that would often occur, which would also fail Maryland state inspection, is like GT3s. They take off the center muffler in the back. In order to Maryland state inspect a car, it can be an aftermarket exhaust system for Maryland state inspection, but it has to retain all of the cans that were there originally. If you are excluding a can like that center rear muffler, that cannot pass Maryland state inspection.
So that you can change things, but like going in, like changing the tune of the engine, but like an exhaust, if it meets Maryland, for example.
But an aftermarket exhaust would not pass certified pre-owned inspection.
But if you took that off and put it back on, but you hadn't changed like the engine, like
that is, so the car has to be as it left the factory.
So return to stock.
Yeah.
gotcha. So return it to stock.
Yeah, a car would need to be sold as a stock vehicle. There are some small things that I don't have the CPO guidelines in front of me that can pass, but most of it is aesthetic. It's nothing that has to do with the actual, because remember, when you're buying a certified pre-owned car, Porsche themselves, not an aftermarket warranty company that is underwriting, is guaranteeing the car. So of course, if something is a variable, that was not instituted from the factory, they're not going to back it up.
The reason I ask is because I would be more concerned, for example, if somebody, took a 3-liter Carrera, cranked the boost up to 30 psi and then put it back, when they took it back to the Porsche dealership, than if they had just put an exhaust on, but then put the stock one back
Well, that's
on.
what they're going to do.
for example.
So that is, there are ways that a dealership can look into a car's history to see how it was flashed and look at different parameters to see if that has occurred. I do know that there are ways, perhaps asking Mike would be a different person to ask regarding other things that could occur. I've driven tuned cars. I've driven stock cars. They both are different in the regard that they work better for different audiences. I'm kind of a stock car guy.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that Porsche has done things correct, but I'm not faulting people for making decisions and changing their cars. I have driven really amazing. I've driven Mike's turbocharged Caymans with 600 wheel horsepower that have been an absolute riot. It's just for me, I have different requirements.
So when they say they have and this is right on the web, so it's nothing secret. They have 111-point checklist.
Yeah, it's
that
very
they have
thorough.
to go through. But just like everything in life, it's very subjective. And I say subjective because not every dealer is holding it to the same level, maybe, or standard. And I get this a lot here at PCA because we have people that buy CPO cars, and they will complain because they say, it just happened last week. One dealer said they wouldn't have CPO'd that car because and he started listing all the things that were out of spec. And he said, how can this one dealer do it? And I said, well, it's something you got to take it with PCNA then, because that dealer has the answer to PCNA of why did they CPO this car if the tires were out of spec, if the brake pads were out of spec.
Yeah, consumables have to be 50% or better. And when they would hand me when Yuri or Marcus or the guys at the dealership would hand me the sheet, they would say, this is this. But the last thing that you would want is for a car that you certified to go to another dealership, and for exactly what Manny just said, they would say, well, this car shouldn't have passed with these tires. We would see cars that would come in that I'd be like, I don't understand how this is possible. My team saw me as certainly, how do I phrase this? We definitely wanted to be a standard at Porsche Silver Spring when I worked there. And it was super important with Linda directing the service department and my technicians that I work with. They wanted to make sure that if a car ever left us, that it would be to a certain caliber. I had seen cars that come from other dealerships that did not meet that. So I think one of our talking points today is, should you have a car looked at by an independent or by another Porsche dealership? If it makes you comfortable, it's absolutely fine. If you're more so worried about things like whether or not the car will be covered by a warranty if it breaks, as long as the certified pre-owned documentation is signed correctly, that'll be conveyed through Porsche. So that's not an issue. But I often recommend people get second opinions on things, and that also, if someone restricts you from allowing the car to have a different inspection done,
Red flag.
perhaps you should reconsider that,
Yeah.
or maybe speak to somebody else at that establishment to make sure that you are doing the right thing. I've had the cars that I'm representing now, I've had people ask me to have pre-purchase inspections done. If I can't tell somebody yes, I believe that this is a good idea, I'd be happy I wouldn't want to sell them that car.
Yeah.
It's very important that you're able to find somebody that's representing a car that will stand behind that product.
Yeah, and it might be something, as Manny said, a lot of the checklist is subjective. And if you're a super picky person, and let's say wheels being refinished, right? Like it would pass a CPO if it had curb damage and they fixed it. But if you're a super picky person and you noticed when you got the car that the wheel was a shade different from the others, or the way they blended
I'm real
it.
particular on that.
Yeah, so you got to take the call. Like, would it be covered under warranty if that wheel had a leak? Absolutely. But would it drive you crazy if the one wheel didn't match the other three?
But that would hopefully be pretty evident. What isn't so evident, though, is that paint.
Oh, yeah.
Paint, I believe, when I read it, it was only the bumpers are allowed to be repainted. If any of the other part of the car has been repainted, I don't think they allow it to be CPO'd. At least when I remember reading the.
So a long time ago, you were allowed to have 2 metal panels repainted. That was my 2 or 3 metal panels that could be repainted. That's no longer the case.
Yeah. So.
I apologize.
Yeah.
The car, to my I wish I had it sitting in front of me, but I don't believe that repainting of metal panels anymore has anything to do with excluding a car from CPO.
Because I know someone who had a GT3, and he was under the impression that it was all original paint. And he didn't find out until he went to have it ceramic coated, and any good ceramic coating is going to mica. Look how deep the paint is, and they noticed right away that the entire right side of the car had been repainted. It was much thicker than the other side of the car.
But there are times that I have received Porsches that perhaps some damage had occurred on a vehicle. That the factory actually repainted a portion of the car, be it a bumper, be it a fender. Let's say cars that were on a boat that received a scratch.
Yep.
Those things happen. So I think that is part of the reason why they no longer work. Being that Porsche painted it, it's an extension of the factory, therefore it's still original paint.
And that would not show up on a Carfax. That wouldn't show up anywhere.
That's correct.
But that's still something that if I'm spending $200,000 or even $100,000 on the 911, and I'm in my mind thinking I'm getting basically a new car, I think you would want to know. But the point being, have someone take a look at it, even if it's like bringing a
or buy a
paint
paint
meter.
gauge. You can buy a paint gauge on Amazon anywhere from. I've got a $50 one that I have personally, and I've got a $1,000 one at work that is as good as they.
And I don't think the dealer's trying to be disingenuous. They may look at the paint and say this looks great. I don't know if they do paint depth on all of them, or like Casey said,
I do.
It can change. And the guy who had the GT3 didn't know until he went to get it ceramic coated, and they told him, oh, by the way, I guess it's been painted on one side. Keep that in mind to anyone who's looking. I love CPO cars. Like I said in the beginning, I recommend them to everyone because they give you such peace of mind when you buy the car for, is it 2 years?
So it's 2 years, and then you can purchase an additional year on top of
so
that,
you can get up to
depending
3
upon
years
how much time is left.
That it's not comprehensive in the sense that it's not going to do regular maintenance. It doesn't cover that, right?
It covers. It's really an extension of the factory warranty, excluding things like
Consumables.
It won't cover tires.
consumables,
It won't cover brake pads.
But it is not as comprehensive as the original factory warranty. There are some trim items that are not covered. But anything that really has to do with safety or functional lubrication of the vehicle is covered under the CPO warranty.
You have something catastrophic. You don't have to worry.
And
it's gonna cover
CPO is also zero deductible.
Yeah.
Which
Nice.
is also good. I've owned Audis that are certified. I've owned other cars that are certified. Porsche's is by far the best and most comprehensive used
I
car
think they give you a
warranty
Porsche
on the market.
loaner too, don't they?
Yeah, I mean that's based on the dealership, but that's always the goal is to give out a loaner car.
Can you share? So let's say I'm buying a car that might be a 2022 that still has a balance of the factory warranty, but it's also CPO. Like, how does that match up?
So it basically it goes. It would add 2 years onto the factory warranty, so effectively 6 years from the original in-service date of the car. And also something that goes with Porsche is it's unlimited miles. So you
That's
could drive the
nice.
car 1 million miles in 6 years and it would be covered.
And it's transferable.
It is transferable.
And I always
Yeah.
tell people when they're buying a newer car and they're buying it from a non-dealer, I still tell them, hey, take the serial number and call up the dealer. Just ask them to run it through, because I can't tell you many people that have done that and they come to find out the car had a CPO warranty. 3 months left, 6 months left. They weren't aware of it, that they could still utilize. So
Technically, when a car is sold through a non-Porsche dealership, the CPO warranty is supposed to go away. But if it
Oh, really?
is being sold from customer to customer, it does stick.
Oh, okay.
I can't speak to whether or not somebody's actually auditing to remove CPO warranties, because I have seen the.
yeah, this was bought from an Audi dealer, and
So I do understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that
Technically-
according to the guidelines that I recall, if the vehicle is sold from through a non-Porsche dealership, that warranty is not to convey.
So here's a question for people who might be thinking of CPO not as a buyer but as a seller. So I guess a scenario that maybe would illustrate this. What if you had that 2012 997 Turbo S? You bought it new. It's never been CPO. Maybe it hasn't even been maintained by the dealer the past 5 years, but you take it to somebody like, Bob Miller or, TPC. When you're going to sell that, maybe you're considering a Porsche dealer and you want that car to be CPO because it'll bring more money, right? How does that CPO work in if you're a seller?
So you can't. The car has to be sold through a Porsche dealership to be certified as a new certified car, if you understand.
So
what
if
I'm
you
saying.
bought it new and you're the original owner, but you haven't had it serviced at the Porsche dealer for its whole life, and now you're still the first owner.
Well, I guess technically it would cost you a lot of money, but you could sell it to the Porsche dealership.
Mm-hmm.
They could certify it, and then they could sell it back to you.
They get their cut. Yeah.
So you'd have to
I see.
pay for everything. You'd have to pay for the warranty. You'd have to pay for sales tax again, and then you would get the car
So
back.
if
I
you're
don't
if you're a
believe-
seller, the dealer is when you're selling a car that maybe is CPO worthy, it still costs money to the dealership that would make it to make it a CPO car.
I've never been in that situation
Yeah.
where somebody brought me
That
a
would be
car
a really
that they
weird
owned
situation.
and
No, I've
wanted
heard
to
I've heard
certify it.
people wanted to do that, and I guess that leads us to the next topic:
'Cause
is the aftermarket warranties. But people have said, we're going to the dealer. The dealer's going to buy it back. They take their whatever percentage cut. They resell it to me, but now they certify it, so I get the CPO warranty. It's basically almost pushing paper to a certain degree. But then I guess, like I said, the next part of this discussion is the aftermarket warranties, whether that really makes sense, because the dealer is going to want their cut from doing this resell and putting it under CPO.
But I mean, at the same time, the costs traditionally incurred with CPO are the cost of the warranty, which is, I'm not sure what it is now, but depending on the type of vehicle that it was, it differed in cost. The cost of the CPO inspection, and then the cost of any work that is required
To get it up to spec.
To get up to spec, which is traditionally eclipses all of the other things by 2 or 3-fold.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily sure that would be a viable option. There are other, if you want, it doesn't add a warranty, but there are these classic certificates that you can get through Porsche dealerships now. Porsche Classic Partners, the closest one to here is Porsche Mainline. My buddy Steve Gowden, and then he's in Las Vegas. But you could take your car to a Porsche Classic dealer to have effectively what is a very elaborate CPO inspection done. There's no warranty associated with it, but it does offer validation and verification of
The
the
bill of
exact
health.
car you
That
have.
it's like a CPO level sort of car.
But it does. There's no warranty.
There's no
involved,
warranty.
But it's that level of inspection and then some, because they do things like there's people in the. You would be great to have Jonathan or Taylor from the classic program here, but that's a physical verification of the car. It was something that I was aspiring to be when I was at Porsche Silver Spring, but of course timing didn't work out.
So the
before
it's
you-
called a Porsche Classic Technical Certificate.
Correct. It's
the one where you
yeah.
bring the car to the dealer.
And it's only a
And-
classic partner. So there's like you can get it used to be called a COA. Now it's a Porsche product specification sheet, which does not verify engine numbers. But then there's the Porsche Classic Technical Certificate, which is the next level. So
That's
if you
like,
do have a special car, and you really want, it's like the Ferrari has Class C, if I'm not mistaken. It's something like that, but it's now something that Porsche is offering in the United States. So for a more vintage vehicle, of which 997 is included, if you want that verification, that's that. But it does not include any warranty.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that it would be cool for somebody who has maybe a car that, is still within the CPO timeline, but doesn't qualify for the reasons we were just talking about, to show that, hey, this is still, like, Porsche will officially say, this is a great car, and that inspection and that certificate is sort of what that is.
Yeah, well, it is, but the other thing is, I mean, like I said, it would be a whole lot of paperwork to physically sell the car back, repay sales
To actually get
taxes.
the CPO part of that.
Yeah, it'd be remarkably.
Yeah. So as a seller, there's
expensive.
nothing to look forward to there.
So we are pretty lucky here, in Maryland, that within a stone's throw we have probably 4 or 5 dealers that we could bring our cars to get serviced. And this question has come up before, and I kind of didn't understand why people wouldn't just bring it back to the dealer. But let's recognize that if you're in the middle America and your closest dealer is 4 hours away, do you have to take your Porsche to the Porsche dealer to get like CPO coverage or work
100%.
done. So you have to make that 4-hour trek.
Yep.
If you want to use the CPO.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
To my recollection, it's valid in both the United States and Canada, but it has to be done at a Porsche partner.
The other question is, let's say someone, the days of buying cars out of state now is pretty common, and you're buying a CPO car from, let's say, Chicago, and now I live in Maryland. When I bring my CPO Chicago car to Porsche of Silver Spring, does that car get looked at with the same, how do you say, do you treat it the same? Do you care that it was bought somewhere else? No. Okay.
For a Porsche dealership, you look at, it's business. It's a new customer. You treat a customer well. You get referral business. You get referral business in sales, service, parts. It's all about manifesting that relationship. So,
It's still a good,
absolutely, yeah.
good transaction.
And
Okay.
when a car shows up, basically they put the VIN in this screen, and the screen shows what warranties the car has. If the car has prepaid maintenance, it all checks out in these boxes, and that's what the Porsche dealership follows for figuring out exactly what is owed to the customer at that point.
I noticed when you opened or did the grand opening of the dealership, you had this wicked machine that is right by the garage door as cars come through,
Yes.
and it reads the codes and everything off that car. It even measures like the alignment of it.
Yeah.
Does it actually show up whether or not that car is CPO'd or what kind of warranty?
That system isn't integrated into that's a Hunter system, like Hunter alignment machines, but basically it measures tread depth. It can do some kind of rough alignment estimations, and it also reads the license plate and projects that information onto a screen that it's easy to. Basically, that aspect of things is really utilized to make the customer arriving at the dealership more seamless.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty
That's
cool, and it's really becoming. I think it might even be required at Porsche dealerships now, but it's pretty much the industry.
Have you seen that,
standard now.
Manny? You know what I'm talking
It
about?
knows the weight of the car.
Yeah, it
Well,
like measures and reads
Yeah,
the car as it comes through the
drives
door.
over these things that get these little items that stick out of the
Mr.
ground.
Gwynn, this car's a lot heavier than 3 months ago when you showed up.
It's a cool system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like going to the doctor.
All right. So the next question is, let's say the car that you're looking at is not available as a CPO from the dealership, but you still worry and you want to have some sort of coverage. We're talking about third-party aftermarket warranties and what is, what there's so many out there, and people, I don't want to say get scammed, but if you typed in aftermarket warranties, you would get tons of
It's
opportunities. But
Isn't
which
it the
ones are
most
worth
common call?
Yeah.
Spam call is we
Yeah.
like to talk to you about your extended warranty.
your
on
warranty
car.
has
is
expired.
right. So that's a great question. I can speak to one company, which is a company that I personally sold their warranties. I currently have no vested interest in them. I have my personal car that I drive every day, which is a late model Audi that I really miled up. It has this warranty on the car, and I know that if I have a problem, it will be taken care of. That company is the base company is called JM&A.
JMNA. Okay.
And the warranty is called Fidelity.
That's what I've heard.
Fidelity, we've heard of
And
that.
Renless, they talk about that a
So
lot.
that is the only that's the only third party warranty that I can speak to.
Now is that what like Porsche of Silver Spring?
That is what
Like
Porsche
they
Silver
recommend
Spring
if
sells.
they don't have okay.
And that's because that's effectively why I'm familiar with it. But I have seen it stand behind numerous issues that cars have had. That either my clients who bought a new car, as you were explaining, Damon, they bought a car, and let's say it was a low mile car that their warranty expired. I had never breached the subject of attempting to buy the car back to them and reselling to them as a certified car. We did that a number of times with leases, because technically the dealership buys the lease and then resells the cars back to the
So
customer.
it's not a totally crazy thing to do,
No,
but just the
but that technically, when you lease a car, it's owned by Porsche Financial
right.
Services,
So
and
it's
then
not
it's
exactly
resold to
the
a
same.
consumer.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy idea. I've heard way crazier,
Uh-huh.
like the cat drinking out of the toilet, those sorts of things. But the JM&A warranty, I've sold it to my father has a car. I sold him one of these warranties. I have numerous friends and family members that I've recommended buy these warranties. And like I said, I have one. I'm not I'm not a patient, I'm a doctor. What is that line from the commercial where people say I'm not only a... Anyway, I'm digressing, but I think you understand where
I
I'm
don't
going.
play a doctor.
I don't
play a doctor on TV.
Yeah, there you go. So yes, they're. I absolutely recommend them, and this particular company, I've seen it save people a lot of money.
And how does what level of coverage is it similar?
They
or
they
can you
offer,
buy different levels?
They offer 3 different levels through Fidelity. There's a powertrain warranty, which is effectively internally lubricated parts.
Engine transmission.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And then there's a gold warranty that I never really even thought about, because when you get up to the platinum warranty, that's when it covers more of the vehicle's electronics. So it's effectively an exclusionary warranty, but it covers nearly, if not very similar to what a Porsche CPO warranty covers, except for that there's a deductible. If I'm not mistaken, it's either $100 or $250.
That's not too bad.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like I said, I have on my personal car. I bought it when the car was new, so it's like life insurance. If you buy a warranty, if you buy it when the car is new with low miles,
Cheaper.
It's significantly less expensive. If I were to buy the warranty on my Audi now, for I think I bought a 5-year 100,000-mile warranty, and I'm the 18th, whenever that is. That'll be 3 years of me owning that car, and I have I think it was like 48,000 miles on it. So if I were to buy that warranty now for the next, let's say, 2 years and 50,000 miles of coverage, it would probably be $15,000. It would be a huge amount of money because the car is older.
Yeah.
But when I bought the car at a younger, it might not be that much, but it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
But when I bought the car new, I think it was like $4,000, and that's going to cover me for the next 2 years and 50,000 miles.
I feel like $3,500, $4,000 for an extended warranty for 5 years is a bargain, because these newer cars today, like anything electronic, let alone engine stuff that goes wrong, I feel like that bill could easily surpass that amount.
And I've never had a single issue with my Audi, but if something did occur,
This table's made of wood, by the way.
Oh yeah, knock.
Does not look like it's well, but anyway,
IKEA wood. Right?
IKEA wood.
It's something that I absolutely recommend, and I partook of it because I saw what it saved my customers.
And they cover all sorts of cars, not just Porsches.
There are limits. If I'm not mistaken, they won't underwrite some very expensive cars. Like, I don't think GT3 RSs and 2 RSs can be warranted using Fidelity.
Yeah.
Of course, that might have changed. You can
I
certainly...
thought you were going to say Honda Kia, not the opposite.
No, so there are limits to the vehicles that they will underwrite.
Do you think so? I'll ask the question because I know somebody listening is thinking about it, and we talk about 996s and 997s with potential IMS issues.
There are age cutoffs. I don't think.
Oh, that's
age.
I
don't think they'll go back.
So that's
far.
age, not model.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
this is like life
age.
insurance. Like
Yeah.
20-year-old VU would be very cheap to insure.
Yeah.
50-year-old VU with a stint.
So-
There they are.
I know, family history now.
Now, I think for most aftermarket warranty companies, you could probably go back 8 or 10 model years.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's kind of year on year.
I mean, the actuaries probably make that decision, right?
There's probably just a guideline that says if the car it can go back 10 years, and if it's older than 10 years, they won't cover it. But I would recommend that you reach out to somebody that sells those warranties. The folks at Porsche Silver Spring do. I could certainly, if somebody wanted to reach out to me, I could make a connection there. But
I think there's some, I guess, I've seen on Rentless where there's actually people they recommend you can contact that will sell like a Fidelity,
Like a broker?
I guess a broker or a agent, or but if you search on Rentless, you'll find people, because I would imagine like at the dealership, is it Magnan? Did I get that?
the Magna Motors.
Magna
right?
Motors. That would be an add-on sale if someone's buying a car. And
Yeah, so I've reached out to JM&A to offer their products. But
Would the car have to go through the doctor has to go and check you? Do they send
I
somebody?
just had one of those recently, by the way. But no, there are no inspections that are required. If I'm not mistaken, there's like when you purchase the warranty, there's a certain amount of time that needs to lapse before you can make a claim.
Yeah.
Might be 30 or 60 days, something like that. I mean, that's so if you blow the motor up, and
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that. but you
So
know what
we
I'm
can get
saying.
Damon's camera.
Here's
insured.
a crazy scenario, but it's in my head, and I'm going to ask it. So you know how there were all these, crazy storms recently, and there's probably a car or two out there that is maybe 4 years old, but has had water damage, but somehow kind of got back into the system, but it doesn't have warranty. But with that kind of car, could you get a warranty?
I have no idea, and I don't want to answer that question.
It is crazy to think, though, right?
You're
It's
talking about a car that's been it has a salvage title.
Yes, a salvage
I'm
title
assuming
car
that
that
if a
maybe came from a
vehicle- I'm assuming that if the car has some sort of salvage history,
I don't know
it would
if
be
even-
excluded from the possibility.
And I don't want to say it 100%, but I thought collector car insurance you can't even get with a salvage title.
I hope so. I mean, that would make sense. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would think not. I would hope not.
I mean, as
because
someone
that's
that
really
bought
gaming
one,
the
I would
system.
think, yeah, that's totally gaming the system, right?
Yeah,
That's what I would be worried about is somebody selling a car that says, oh, well, I also have this aftermarket warranty, and it just kind of masks the fact that, hey, it was at one time underwater.
That one time.
I was thinking about. I thought you were going to go for the more common problem with not just Porsches, but cars with the drainage. The
Oh,
the
yeah,
sunroof
yeah.
drains, the
Yeah,
engine
yeah.
drains, where the water doesn't drain and it comes into the interior and floods
Right.
the interior and totals the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Where-
not covered under CPO.
I don't think it's even covered under the manufacturer warranty.
Okay, repeat that because that's very important for people to understand.
Part of routine maintenance on a vehicle, part of every yearly service as prescribed by Porsche is cleaning out the drains.
Yes.
And if the drains are not cleaned and the car gets, that's not factory warranty or certified warranty.
And you get water into your cabin at the bottom of your car, and guess what's on the bottom floor of your car?
All of the expensive things.
Yes.
But that happens in any car.
Yeah.
Hondas,
Oh, yeah,
Audis. Yeah. So it's
Clearing your
super important to have
drains.
the sunroof drains cleaned. My 968 filled up with water. Never mind, it didn't fill up with water. But no, it got a little damp inside because the
Yeah.
sunroof drain actually retracted from the drains in the front of the car. But yeah, it's super important that you get sticking with a factory warranty or a certified warranty, not necessarily a third-party warranty, but making sure the car is maintained correctly.
The service. yeah.
Because if you're not servicing your car and the engine locks up, there is Porsche or any Honda or Mercedes-Benz or BMW, they have an argument for not honoring your warranty because you didn't follow the prescription of what's required to physically own the car.
There are a lot of GTIs, Mark 7 GTIs out, and I'm sure other generations of, water in the interior, sunroof
yeah.
leaks, et cetera, et cetera.
Happens to a lot of.
And I never parked in, I park either in a garage or under nothing at work and at home, so I've never had that issue. But
But it could still clog.
it can still clog, I'm sure.
Every-
But
You bought a used car and it's clogged already. You're not aware of it until
Yeah.
the first major storm where it just can't keep up and draining, and the clog it's just like an arterial clog.
Yeah.
At one point it just has to give.
Hey, let's not talk about clogs.
Damon,
So
we
it's
have a
too
Mark
close to
7.
home.
We have a Mark 7 GTI, and every single time I get the car serviced, I make sure they clean the drains.
yeah,
So-
because that's a really bad.
so when-
my TDI when I had it didn't have a sunroof, so I never had to.
That's the
worry
move.
about that.
What about?
When you get the car serviced with
Yeah.
Fidelity,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
do you
ask.
pick it? You have your favorite shop you always go to.
So that's a great.
Can
That's
you
a
just
great
take it to
question.
that, or do you have
So-
to take it to their shops?
So I know that with my previous employer, if you are working with any dealership, we'll leave it at this. Talk with them about the warranties that they offer and get their opinions. Because if you're going to continually service a car there and they are going to call the claims in and get them handled, it's certainly nicer if they do it rather
Sure.
than you have to make the phone calls yourself.
Yep.
And I know that with the warranties that we used to sell and sell now at that dealership that I'm no longer affiliated with, if you have a warranty, they will work with you to get those things covered. So I always recommend, if you're going to get the car serviced somewhere, make sure that they jive with the warranty company that you're considering on procuring.
Yeah, that's exactly what we always
And
say
be nice.
here,
Take
too.
them donuts and be nice to them because
Speaking of the donuts you brought today, is that from Woodmore Bakery?
they're 100% from
Oh,
Woodmore.
man.
Yeah, they're the best.
Thank you for that.
course.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I always say people, like, if you have an idea of where you're going to take your car, go ask them.
100%.
Say what warranty company has worked well with you, because if it's a pain in the behind to get paid for that work and the company, the dealership or the independent shop that you go to doesn't want to do that, it's like not having a
It's
warranty.
similar to like getting another thing that I always recommended people buy, because I've seen it save people thousands of dollars, including myself, is like wheel and tire insurance, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense to, if you're going to get your car serviced at a dealership, make sure you say, hey, what wheel and tire insurance do you offer? Because if you don't currently have it on your car, it makes sense for them to be able to do it. I do know that Porsche offers their own, where you basically take a picture of it, but I know that there are certain dealerships where they kind of gave a little bit of pushback. I mean, when I sold cars in the DC region, sometimes if I sold a car to somebody in a different area, they would take it to another dealership, and then there would sometimes be some pushback, and I'd have to field phone calls and work out things just to make it easy for people. But if you are going to service your car somewhere and want to purchase these extra products, make sure that the person that you're working with jives with it. And like I said, bring them some donuts and be nice. You'd be amazed at working at a dealership. If I had to tell anybody that listens to this podcast anything, the nicer you are to people, the better return you're going to get in that relationship.
Absolutely.
If you walk in there and you're angry, it's going to take too long to get a service line or those things, it's never going to bode well for you. But if you're just a little kind, that goes so far.
Let's back up, and this is something that I really didn't think about until my buddy Gregory. He has a Cayenne GTS, and when he bought it CPO'd, but he also got the wheel and tire package.
Sure.
That has paid off in spades, because he lives in DC, and with the big old 21-inch wheels
It's
and low
huge.
profile tires, I'm like, nowadays,
Sounds like you bought the wrong car.
but I think, would you agree? Like, that's kind of a good package to buy.
So I'm a huge proponent of prepaid maintenance from Porsche if it qualifies on the car that you're buying. I'm a huge proponent of extending the warranty on the car if you're planning on owning it for that long. The other thing about third-party aftermarket warranties is, let's say that you bought the car 3 years in, you decide you don't want the car anymore. At least for JM&A, that money that's not used of that warranty won't be all of it, but there'll be a portion of it that can be prorated back to you. So that's a great thing as well. So I always recommend that, and the wheel and tire insurance to me is an absolute no-brainer.
Is it transferable though?
It is.
And
that's an extra selling point
Yeah, I was
if
gonna
you were to
say.
sell your
Sure.
car
Oh, yeah.
personally.
Are you asking about Fidelity, or are you talking about
Fidelity.
the wheel and tire?
Fidelity.
That is transferable. You have to go
So
through
both.
their process. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's
totally
to me
worth
the
it.
big selling point, because once again, give peace of mind.
It's a value add.
And when you're buying a Porsche, all you got to do is look up what a new engine costs.
I
a
don't
new
think some people
transmission.
realize, but wheels and tires, especially, the nicer the car, the nicer the wheel, the nicer the tire, they are so expensive.
Well,
Yeah.
a tire on the back of a 911 is, I don't know, $400,
Yeah,
$450
I was
bucks.
gonna say.
A wheel is upwards of $1,000 a wheel.
And with
Yeah.
cars
And that's
being
a junky wheel, not
cars-
like a GT3 RS
Yeah,
wheel,
brand
which is
new one.
$4,000 or $5,000.
Like each probably,
Oh,
right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's-
So with the
it's
car
insane amount of
systems
money.
nowadays so sensitive, let's take the 911, where they have staggered sets, right? Staggered front and rear. But then you also take, say, a Macan or a Cayenne, which is an all-wheel drive system, that if you have one tire go bad and the rest of your tires aren't matching, that's an issue, right?
Right. So with my experience, it only, if you, let's say you have a car with 30,000 miles on it. Let's say your rear tires, most Porsches are, it's not like an Audi where it's like a more of a central all-wheel drive system. Porsche does it in axles. So let's say your rear tires are at, let's say, 4 millimeters of tread. There is a variance that you cannot eclipse from one side to the other. If I'm not mistaken, it's 3/32 or 3 millimeters. Don't quote me on that. But if it's larger than that, it will change the way that that axle works, and the wheels will spin at different rates, and that's not allowable. So if you get a puncture in one tire, the wheel and tire insurance, at least the ones that I was familiar with, will replace that tire, but it's on you to replace the other one.
Oh, it's on you to replace the other
100%.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, they won't replace it just because you had to replace the other tire.
It's funny. There was and so this is coming out on a Monday, but we're recording on Wednesday. Yesterday we had Mart Fresh, and I picked a car. It was a 2019 718 Cayman GTS, and
Is that one black? I think I saw that one.
it was red with a
Red,
black interior.
right, got it.
And he said there was one wheel had a puncture, one of the rear wheels, and I think it was like 70% tire left on three, the three tires that are older, and then the one that was replaced has like 90. And I'm thinking to myself, even if that's allowable, knowing in the back of my head that one rear wheel is spinning over the course of, let's say, a commute to work, probably several miles more than the other one.
That variance is allowed.
Yeah. Is it?
No,
70 and 90?
Yeah, they're. I mean, I hate to say, please don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not.
That's close
I'm not
at the very
I'm
least.
not a technician. I'm not a. But and with my recollection, that's something that would be allowable.
I wonder if you could really feel that.
No,
It doesn't matter if you can feel it. You know it.
Well,
I mean, no.
feeling it, but it's really the computer system in the car. Will it mess it up, right? Like the ABS or,
a lot of it has to do with traction control.
Traction control.
Yeah, because basically traction control monitors wheel speed. There's wheel speed sensors. If one is that much different than another, I mean, that's how, let's say, like on an Audi or Volkswagen, it measures wheel speed for tire pressure monitoring. Porsches use actual monitors in the tires, but a lot of other vehicles just measure wheel speed, and that's how it's able to tell if you have a puncture because one wheel is moving faster than another.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those people where, even if it was 70, 90, it would just bug me. I would need to get 2 new tires.
I would think that warranty, though, wheel and tire, really has to come in for the wheel.
Yeah, the wheel.
I'm thinking of like you're curbing it, or you hit a pothole and you bend the wheel beyond repair, because these Porsche wheels are not cheap.
I've seen it save people a ton of money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, I traditionally recommend wheel and tire insurance before I would recommend an extended warranty.
Yeah.
It's almost like
totally
AAA,
understand.
like one tow and you paid off your AAA.
Yep.
Same thing with
I've
wheel
used
and
a
tire.
lot of those this year.
One time and you're ahead of the game.
So thanks for sharing about Fidelity. I know that's one you're familiar with, but for our listeners, if you've had a positive experience with an aftermarket warranty, let us know in the comments below.
Or if you ever bought the warranty from the spam people that call up. I personally like messing with them, and sometimes I'll answer the phone and I'll throw them for a loop, and I'll say, I have a 1964 Volkswagen Beetle. Can you give me a price on the aftermarket, on the insurance? And the operators are like, they pause and they're like, what year was that? And I go, 1964. And they're like, let me ask my manager.
But here's the sad part is it's a numbers game, right? Like they're calling probably millions of people, and let's take your parents for example, who may not know, like they are genuinely concerned when someone calls them about the warranty on their car, and they go, well, maybe I should get a quote, and maybe I should buy it. Like my grandparents or my mom and my dad, like, man, that's just so slimy. Like I wish we could do something to protect people from scams like that.
Just don't pick up the phone.
I told my mom that. I'm like, just tell Dad not to answer the phone if he doesn't recognize the number. And her response is, he can't see anything without his glasses. And he doesn't put his glasses on, so he just answers the phone. Wow. I'm like, at that point, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Hey, Damon, let's get into your recent Boxster video.
Boxster 25, or 25 years edition. So that was a 1 mile review, and just to give people a little heads up, we won't be doing quite as many 1 mile reviews. We'll still be doing reviews, but this is one of the last traditional 1 mile reviews that you all have been watching for the past several years, and we just won't be doing it quite as often, and except where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the Boxster 25, well, it must have made sense because I think it has more than 10,000 views, which is a lot better than a lot of our other 1 mile reviews that we've done lately. So I guess our viewers love Boxsters. So this is basically celebrating 25 years of the Porsche Boxster, which 1997 model year was the first one we saw here in the U.S. And so the Boxster 25 is just a GTS 4.0, but it has neodyme colored bespoke, unique wheels. The launch car came in GT Silver Metallic, so it looks a little bit more like the Boxster concept from way back in 1993, I think, at the Detroit Auto Show. So basically, it's a GTS 4.0 with a naturally aspirated flat six that pays homage to the original Boxster concept.
I was so surprised to see how controversial the wheels were.
Yeah, well, they look like tuner wheels to someone who doesn't know any better.
I find the wheels gorgeous.
Yeah. I think they look
that,
great.
I love
What
that
color
color.
are they?
They're
Neodyne.
Neodyne, so a goldish color.
Gold.
I
So what
sold-
do you see it as? You see it as brown or gray?
Yeah, brown.
Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I sold those new. They're great cars. We've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
we've got one for sale as well, a black one. But they're awesome cars. And the original car had speed lines on it, if I'm not mistaken, multi-piece speed lines with
right.
The concept car.
with
The concept car,
gold
yeah.
centers.
Uh-huh.
But no,
I love that wheel too.
that to me is a car
Yeah.
I could own for forever and be
Yeah.
entirely happy.
Yeah, but those wheels, I mean, I love them. They have an aftermarket like motorsport look to them.
I have a love for the basic 5-spoke, and then I have a love for that gold color.
Yeah.
It works. The
Yeah,
whole
it's
car is great.
gorgeous.
It kind of looks like a 5-spoke T37.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I think that's the wheel I'm probably thinking of.
The
is the 6-spoke.
TE37.
It's the
The
I think
Volk,
so.
was it?
Yeah, Volk wheels.
Something like that. Yeah, but a very cool car. If you're looking at buying something that drives really well, you're going to find the exact same thing almost in a GTS 4.0. I think the one thing that I didn't mention was that the 25 years edition has a short throw shifter, I believe, that the GTS 4.0 doesn't get.
I think you're right.
Otherwise,
It's a
Same
killer.
car.
It's a killer car. Like
How
I
many-
said,
Yeah.
I could own one for forever.
How many of those were made roughly?
1,250.
Yeah.
1,250.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So very cool car.
1,200. What's the significance of 12?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. Yeah.
Why did you have to go and ask me that?
I thought you would know the answer.
I don't know.
We're in the kiddie pond. Don't go
not
deep.
sure.
Fu, could I bring up one thing?
Sure.
I meant to bring this up earlier. The car that we did for our classic restoration project, thankfully, is actually at a new home currently.
Oh.
It's,
You didn't take it home?
No, so it was at my colleague and business partner Harley procured the vehicle and then allowed me to represent the car at Porsche Cars North America. So it's actually in the historic gallery for the next 6 months.
Oh, nice.
You'll see it here in a second. They're doing
there we are.
stories on not only cars themselves, but they're more focusing on the human aspect of things. Sarah and Zach down there have been really great to work with, and they've actually
Oh, congrats.
not only is the car down there, but they did a story about me. And I'm not the kind of guy that likes to pat myself on the back, but it was tremendous validation, and I'm super appreciative of them. And if you guys are in the area, I'd absolutely recommend going to check it out.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
would love to.
Congrats. All right. What else did we drop recently? Oh, the Tech Tactics Live car appraisals.
Yeah, it was pretty popular.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, I think everybody did it. But surprisingly, like you point out, and I forgot to ask Robert, but there was absolutely no comments on the video.
I know.
We have a ton of, the live chat. We had a lot of
Are
discussion
there no
there,
comments on the video?
but there's no comments on
Yeah.
it. It has a lot of views on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people
A lot of
are
likes,
just
but
learning.
no, usually there's always at least a snarky comment.
Yep.
Usually about the host, but not.
Hey.
But yeah, it was something that people know. They know the term car appraising, but I don't think people really understand what goes into it, how to get one. And Doug Eamon did a great job of breaking it down in the presentation about everything, including the diminished value that a car appraiser can help you out with, and how to do it yourself. That was nice too. It wasn't Doug trying to sell. Obviously, he has enough business to keep himself busy. But it was how you yourself can do a car appraisal and what tools you can use.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of those episodes that will be, a solid evergreen piece.
Yeah, that's
for
what
us.
I wanted it done. Like I told Doug, I said we get a lot of calls into the national office, and I'd love to be able to have a video I can point them to have them better understand what a car appraisal is.
All right, let's get into the news. All right, it's okay. We are at an hour mark, but I think we're going to go a little bit longer just to cover the rest of this. Is that all right with you guys?
Past two videos, you go on 90 minutes. So.
I know, and it's been all right. So, all right, let's get into the news. First item up here, we're talking about Porsche sales.
So these are sales. They went up everywhere except we've talked about this before in China. Like Casey and I were mentioning, China, the volume fell, and obviously China. I guess they're still their number one market. I don't think it says in this article whether it's still number one, being North America being number two. But China, yeah, their economy is taking a hit, and it shows with Porsche sales.
In that article, it said North America moved up to number one, right?
Does it say that?
Yeah,
it
North
does.
America
Yeah.
was the
Back to
largest
number
market.
one.
Back
Okay.
to number one.
That's
Yeah.
good, I guess.
yeah.
But China's a lot of their four doors, which is I think their bread and butter as far as profit margins go and volume. I remember hearing back in the summer how a lot of the allocations were being directed back to North America.
They were.
Yeah, so
And they are still.
but still people complain that they can't get certain cars. But that's a good thing.
It's getting
Taycan
easier.
sales were up.
Yeah.
They listed basically just the Cayenne is what fell in China. It's it's I'm sure not a good thing for Porsche because that's something they bet a lot on. Usually the 4-doors they always debut in Asia, be China or Japan. It's somewhere in Asia because they sell I think better than the sports cars do there.
So was that, or if you put your dealership hat back on, extra inventory, but really only on the 4-door side, does that help a dealer or does it not help a dealer?
It was on 2 doors too.
It was on 2 doors too? Okay.
Yeah, it's all production capacity. Basically, they just reallocate things to different areas.
So I'm guessing that does help from a dealer side.
It definitely helps. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at least there's a little bit of things slowed down towards my departure because of rising interest rates and such, but there was still a strong demand for any model at Porsche. But I do believe that it's going to be easier to get 2-door cars kind of moving forward.
Good. All right, next news item, we have Penske in the headlines.
Let's see here. What was the Penske article?
So they got a BMW M Team
Oh, yes,
RLL's
yes, yeah.
technical director. So they
Yes.
created a position. So
Another-
he's not replacing somebody. This is a new position.
Another engineering position within Penske, so this is going to bode well for the 963 program. It's going to be very exciting because as we speak, I believe qualifying is this weekend. So if you're listening to this, we should know the starting grid for Daytona. Do I have my dates right yet? Let me look at my calendar here. It's hard to believe. We're in ice and snow. So it would be I think qualifies. And by the time you listen to this, we should know the starting grid for the 24 Hours Daytona, and that race alone is going to be very very exciting. So I won't be there, but I will be watching on Peacock.
Is that the end of the month, this month?
Yeah, exactly.
I will not be able
Looks
to
like
watch that.
all the teams are upping their engineering and staff levels for season number 2.
Got to get that extra, that unfair advantage to be able to win. Because Lord knows, if you've ever been to a 24 hours or watched it, reliability is almost standard now. It's not like the old days where half the field was broken down by dinner time. Now everyone is still running and running at full throttle. It's like a 24-hour sprint race, so it's going to be interesting.
I would love to go some year.
Never been to the
used-
24?
No, we used
Yeah.
to sponsor Ted when he ran GT3Rs, and my birthday is always that same weekend. So I always kind of had other things planned, and they're not running this year, unfortunately. They're running the sprint races, but
I tell people
I'll go.
it's
I'll go
Florida,
sometime.
but it isn't warm. It's
No, it's
cold,
not.
and dress for up to 32 degrees at night. I took this for granted, but I figured people knew. But I saw some questions where they were like, do I have to stay at the track all 24 hours? Or no, what do you do when you're at the
Yes.
track for
No, you
24
don't.
hours?
You don't.
And I was like, you don't have to stay there. You come have dinner, come back, watch a couple hours, and then go back to the hotel. It's a very wide open track, a very large track, so you can walk to different parts of it. The infield's very lively on Saturday night. There's usually grandstands. If you have general admission, you can get into most any grandstand, except one I think pit row behind the pits. They're VIP, but you can go up in the tower on the outside part and.
There's a Porsche Corral that PCA.
Porsche Corral sold out.
Yep.
That sells out. That's like playoff tickets for football.
But if you want to visit, not park, just have your
Just
Porsche
bring your
key
car
or membership
key.
card.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's an enclosed tent. It has a closed circuit TV. Sometimes they have snacks and drinks. I don't guarantee that because it's free, so it goes pretty fast. But you can be hanging out with 200-300 of your favorite PCA friends, and they have a great spot right on the
I was about to
infield.
say, they're probably the best.
I always say it's beachfront
trackside.
property because
Yep.
it has a grandstand, and they park 200 Porsches. And if you have a ticket for that, don't bring anything but a Porsche. Because even if you're president of PCA, they're not going to let you in unless you're in a Porsche.
Nope. So before that event on January 25th, it ties in with your next news item, which has to do with the Macan EV.
Yeah, we're all excited about that. That's going to have a live reveal.
So it's January 25th at 12 p.m., I want to say.
Whose time zone?
That's Central European time.
Oh,
So that would be what, like 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah.
on the 25th for us on Eastern Time, U.S.
So the
So
fun
go-
news is they got 300-mile range when it was tested. So that's pretty big news.
Yeah. That's
that-
plenty.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, everybody's going to say, "Well, I need more than that."
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
Majority of people in a day are not going to use their 300 miles.
But here's the thing, though, in the news, because we are dealing with our 5 inches of snow here, did you guys see all the news of all the Teslas like getting stuck, not being able to charge? Oh.
So I'm sure that when you see things like that, you're seeing more Teslas because everybody, I think, maybe not everybody, but it's
majority
just
of people
so
are-
easy to pick on Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
And
What they're
whip
not
out your
showing
phone
is the
and-
regular internal combustion engine cars that use a battery that can't get started because the battery's 5 years old and people are just discovering that maybe they should have replaced the battery.
Especially when
or
there's-
fuel in the line that freezes because they have some water in it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you said, it makes for a quick headline or quick
Yeah.
picture. That
And a
people
fun laugh
love.
if it's not you, but
Yeah.
And yes, the batteries do lose
Capacity.
range or capacity in the cold because they're batteries. But
Yeah.
you know, it's
something we'll have to deal with.
So
pretty
as
soon.
much as Porsche is investing on the EV side, our next headline has to do with another alternative fuel, hydrogen.
well, just that little article that came out about reminding you that Porsche is still looking at hydrogen as an alternative fuel with their cars, and Porsche is, I think, to be commended that they got their fingers in every pot. They're just I guess hedging their bets that whatever comes out as the preferred alternative fuel to gas, they'll be on top of. So they're still they have Volkswagen has said that they're not going to make hydrogen powered vehicles, but Porsche still has. They are an engineering company, so they're still investigating hydrogen.
Over the weekend, we got a little text from our director of marketing, who also follows Porsche and Formula E. So congratulations is in order.
You guys didn't watch the race?
I mean,
No.
I watched the clip.
Casey, did you watch?
I watched the clip that
Sorry,
Casey. Don't put me. Casey's like, don't put me on this. Don't put me on this.
Come on, everyone watches Formula E. It's so exciting.
it is exciting, but I just that's not what I was
Formula
doing
E
this
or
weekend.
watching the snow come down. Let's see. No, it was a good start for Porsche. It was in Mexico, and they won.
Yeah,
They won
they
overall, and I don't. When this headline came out, they said it was under review for a technical, I believe, issue. But I haven't seen anything more that they withdrew, took away the win. So Pascal Wehrlein is the driver who won. So yeah, that's always good.
Hopefully
It's
that
just-
sticks.
yeah, Porsche has been doing Formula E for quite a few years now, and it's all on basically street circuits, and maybe that's why their viewership isn't as high as sports cars. It isn't necessarily because of the sound; it's because everything's in a closed type of small street circuit. So,
have you seen one of the cars? They're really big. There was one at the museum when I was there over the summer. It's a really big car.
I've seen it at the LA Auto Show.
Yeah.
I don't have much context. It looked like not huge, but not small.
The Formula One
was
cars have become very large too.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
sitting next to a Mission R, I think. Wait, no, Mission. What's the Cayman one? Mission R.
Yeah, Mission R was
Yeah, it was sitting next.
performance.
So it was sitting. There was the Formula E car, then the electric Cayman, and then the Mission, the new prototype car was sitting next to it.
Yeah, Mission
And it
R,
was it was just really big. Yeah, lots of air.
They had one at the.
Interesting.
Remember, they had it at the
I don't remember.
Experience Center in LA.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that big though. Well, I don't know.
you
You'd be
probably
ama-
have to see it next
I
to
was,
another
probably-
car.
I was also really jet lagged that day, so
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
be
It's
completely wrong.
I would like to see it next to an F1 car because F1 cars have gotten really long compared to what they were 15 years ago. So it would be interesting to compare Formula E to a
So
Look it up.
I know sometimes we kind of poke fun at Formula E, and this ties back to a question that someone commented on the last podcast: is the future of the car scene and electric cars, and can it be fun? Because I think the person said something. They're just golf carts, and I have to think back. I'm like, there's so much that you can still do with an electric car. Like, yes, it won't have the sound, but I mean, you look and
I
see
would
the cars.
watch golf cart racing. Yeah, they really had a golf cart series because that would be almost.
They got lawnmower racing.
They would be
so
hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
That would be awesome to see.
Like
Golf cart racing.
The Tesla that's running Pikes Peak with all the aero. There's still so much that you can do to the car. Seeing the Cayman run and hearing all the gears, it's different. Absolutely, it's different. But I think an enthusiast can still tweak an electric car and do some fun stuff with it. And oh, by the way, they're going to have tons of torque to do it with and have super reliability. So I think there's still fun to be had even with an electric powertrain.
If you can go find an indoor karting place, that still runs gas carts, go drive those, and then go find a karting place that runs electric carts, and ask yourself which one was more fun. So I'm gonna probably say
I don't think. For me, there's no difference. It's just racing. It's
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I worked at a go-karting place for 2 years, indoor gas carts, and I refused to drive electric carts, and I drove electric carts. There's almost no difference.
I mean, your head is
the way
so
you
into
approach
the
it.
racing
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
that you don't even think about the sound. You're just
Yeah.
thinking about how to get to front.
And guess what? It was still
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
So-
The key thing is you're comparing apples to apples, because
Yep.
I think the gas carts that are being ran today, they're usually like fast carts. At least the one at the BWI karting place, right? They're
Oh, those are the
carts.
fast versions,
Those
yeah.
are the fast
Yeah.
versions. So if you're comparing that to
If you're
an
talking
electric,
like K1 versus a gas 6.5 horsepower, 9 horsepower, there's
Yeah.
really not a lot of difference.
But they
There's-
really frown at you hitting another cart at the BWI place.
yes.
The indoor place, they seem to tolerate it. To a
No,
certain
they
point.
don't. They,
Oh,
they
remember the guy
when
that pushed you into the pole?
Yeah, under the barrier, not into the pole. Push me into. Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, not cool. Yeah,
I'm excited about the mid-engine cars, or
Yeah.
whatever they're called, and the moving forward.
Yeah.
I think going out in a beautiful winding road, putting the top back on the electric Boxster, and
Yeah.
just enjoying nature is pretty cool. My wife and I had a project that we finished up this past year, but we had a 1967 Vespa, and I'm not a two-stroke guy at all. Never been. Don't like the smell of two-stroke. But there's a company in England, and I procured a kit.
Oh, yeah, I
and
forgot about that project of
We
yours.
converted the Vespa to be electric. And I can just whiz around the neighborhood, and it's dead silent. I put car horns on it, so you can certainly be known if you're around. But
Yeah.
the being in nature, cruising around in silence, and just kind of enjoying the aspects around you without a lot of kind of atmospheric noise, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I am excited for the Boxster Cayman variants.
So I'm thinking of the, your favorite twisty road, and then, the police officer's favorite pullout, and how many miles of advance notice do they have in a loud Porsche
For sure.
Yeah.
on a back road versus an electric car where they'll probably be caught sleeping, if you pass. Not saying you should drive over the speed limit, but if you are over the speed limit, they're not going to hear you
Don't
coming.
wake the police officer up.
Yeah, don't wake the police officer up. Exactly.
So, Casey, I'm going to ask you to put on that dealer hat again. There's going to be a time when the same ICE version, E version of a Boxster, Macans, they're going to be sold side by side. How do you think the customers are going to react to that?
I think a lot of reluctance towards people moving towards electric cars currently is specifically for infrastructure. I don't think it really has a whole lot to do with brands. I do believe that it'll put down insane numbers. It'll be one of the best driving experiences ever. But until the infrastructure improves, I think there's going to be reluctance towards moving to that, because that's really, I listen to Smoking Tire podcasts a lot, and they talk there about how people aren't necessarily worried about range. They're worried about infrastructure and the ability to charge. And until they can make people calm with that, I think that people are going to be more skewed towards internal combustion engine cars until it gets more thought out.
And your specific usage, right? Like if you know you're always going to park at home at night, it's not a big deal because you can just plug it in at home.
Yeah.
But if you're going long distances where you may have to plug in somewhere, then it's a kind of different scenario.
And to
Apartments,
be honest,
parking.
right now it's still if you weigh economics, the gas car is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
I know electric until the point where it's not, but you get a Honda which can get very good gas mileage, a Civic, and you do the cost analysis. It takes quite a few years for electric car to catch up, and so when that starts coming down,
Right.
and like you said, the infrastructure, it's going to happen. We're just still in the beginning of this transition, and I love seeing old articles from when the car first came out, and people are saying it wasn't going to be anything serious because here's why the horse is so much more reliable. And of course now we chuckle at that, but back then it was somewhat of a sell. The argument you hear also is that back then it was more organic. The government wasn't forcing it, but I don't want to sound like a government guy, but man, if the government had enforced a lot of things like seatbelts, airbags, stuff like that,
Agreed.
we'd be in a whole different type of
I
car
remember
we'd be
when
driving.
they made seatbelts mandatory, and there were so many people like, "Oh, I'm not going to wear it. I'm not."
I hate to say my parents, I remember back in the early 70s, I think my father might have cut off the seatbelts.
Oh,
And because back then everything that they would tell you was it's better to be thrown from the car than to be in the car. And if you ever see the old cars wreck, 'cause that's the other thing, they don't make cars like they used to. They were heavy duty tanks. If you see any crash statistics about old cars, they're horrendous.
steering columns were spears into your chest.
I remember my 914. People said when I first got my first one, I was I guess 20 years old. They said, "Oh, you're gonna die in that car. It's a little coffin." And I got broadside at one time at 60 miles an hour, and I would have driven the car home for the fact that he bent my steering knuckle and I couldn't drive it. But his car was demolished. The 914 hit me square on the front fender. Point being, I didn't die.
Yeah.
The car withstood the accident. So it's not necessarily what people perceive.
Well, that makes me feel better because I'm about to rebuild the engine in my 914 and
There you
hopefully
go.
drive it more.
It's
And
just that you
my
gotta-
reluctance was
Oh, gosh,
not
I
wanting to
feel
get
it
run
coming.
over.
You got to drive it like a motorcycle. You got to make sure everyone sees you all the time in their mirrors because
Yeah.
they don't see you.
Yeah, I've owned it since I think 2009, and unfortunately, it runs on about 1.25 cylinders. But we really miss it. It's
Yeah.
my favorite Porsche.
Very cool. So this next news item actually was kind of timely because our local DJ on DC 101, Elliot Siegel, brought it up in his show today. And it has to do with the Carrera GT and the stop use order.
So I don't think this is news. I think this is old news
Brought back?
being brought back from
So
the
it first
dead.
came out about a week before
Rennsport?
Rennsport,
It was
yeah.
awesome.
Because I remember Porsche emailing us, one of our calls. They said, "Can you tell us how many Carrera GTs are registered for parade laps?" And I said, "I don't think we have any because you guys have your own VIP parade laps." And they said, "Well, if you have any, you can't let them run."
Oh, you know what? That I didn't see any. That's really well. Actually, I saw some parked in the parking lot, but I didn't see any.
And
on
we
the
saw-
track.
we-
That's interesting.
We saw
Yeah.
Carrera GTs being driven around on the track, so we were like, "Well, that's not our problem. That's whoever's parade lap." But Porsche was like, "They cannot be driven. They can be displayed, but they can't be driven." And that was back at Rennsport, so September, and this is still going on. And
Because I don't think there's been a solution yet.
no. In the article from Mr.
So I
Blockman,
guess the news
there's not.
is that the solution might come in Q3 2024.
Whoa.
So that's the news. Our poor Carrera GT owners can't drive their cars for.
That's
a
why I
year.
told Elliot. I said, Elliot, I'm like, people that own Carrera GTs, I'm pretty sure they have other
I
cars
was
to
gonna say, I
drive.
hope they have a second
They
car.
have other cars to drive
Most
while
of
they
them
figure
are
this out.
museum pieces anyway.
Yeah.
I taught somebody how to drive clutch in one of those about 2 years ago. It was pretty fun.
You taught them how to drive a manual, or they
No,
how to
no,
drive that
how to
manual?
drive that
I was going
manual.
to say
Yeah.
that's got to be the most expensive.
Yeah, and
list
if
than
people
ever.
don't know, it is not a easy
one of
car
the-
to drive.
It's one of the coolest cars ever. I mean, just the whole story of that car, which probably many of the listeners here know about, but no, it's not easy to drive at all.
All right. Speaking of driving, if your cars are tucked away because of the winter and you want to check out PCASimRacing.com and get your fix there, I encourage you to do so. We've got some events coming up. We've got Tech Tactics East in Easton, Pennsylvania, February 24th and 25th. Registration is now open, so sign up. I think most of us around the table here will be there, so looking forward to seeing everyone.
2 one-day events. You don't have to do both. You can choose
Pick one.
Saturday or Sunday, and we have the schedule of presentations on the registration site. It's a pretty cool event to do in the middle of February when it's cold and no one's doing anything with their Porsches, at least in the Northeast.
That's in Easton.
Easton, right in the training
great.
center.
Yeah.
Yep. I can't believe we are in full swing in terms of preparations for Works Reunion Amelia Island. That event is March 1st. Registration is open. Having your car judged in that event, we actually are sold out, but we still have plenty of parking in the corral area. So
Do we have vendor spots still available?
We have a few. Yep, we certainly have vendor
Because
spots
if we don't
available.
sell one, we have to put Paul Gentili in one of the booths so we can have a meet and greet with Paul. And if you're willing to sell your Boxer Spider or Cayman R, and it meets his requirements, got to
Oh
be
my
manual.
gosh, Paul's gonna love this. We'll remember, like was it in Peanuts where you had the little
Lucy.
table?
Yeah,
Lucy.
I was thinking the psychiatric help.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We'll have a little table for Paul. Treffin Wine Country, another sold out event. It's sold out
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
We watched here on the computer. We could see as people were registering, and wow, it went through very, very quickly.
And
Not unexpected, though.
Yeah, we knew it. I mean, Wine
unexpected.
Country, the Treffin program, we knew it was going to sell out. Those that got into it, congratulations. Those that did not, don't hate us. I mean, it's an event where we want to kind of make sure that everyone has an awesome experience, and we can't just simply increase the numbers for the sake of getting more people in. We
Yeah,
have
a
to
lot of
maintain
these
flow.
drives that other groups organize are even smaller than Treffin. It's because you just can't have a parade like you can't have 2,000 people at one of these events. It would just be miserable for the attendees.
Porsche Parade Birmingham, we're also in the mix of planning for that. That event is June 9th through 15th. Phase 1 registration, where you get started with registering for the Birmingham experience, that's January 31st. Phase 2 is April 4th.
Phase 1 is strictly hotel.
Yep.
So you're just going to give them your information, and they'll give you a hotel number, or rather a code number that you can register for the hotel. Don't try to call the hotel up and get a room. They've been doing this for a long time, and they're very aware of people trying to sneak in.
Yep.
But there's 2 hotels you can choose from, and then you have a month or 2 months to choose what you're going to do. That's a much more comprehensive part of the registration. But if you're a first-time parade goer, just think about this. First one is just getting your hotel room and registering for parade.
Yeah, I was going to say registering for the event, but not choosing activities.
Not yet. Yeah, activities are for
Yep.
phase 2.
Good
And I will, a little PCA insider for you. When we have Porsche parades on the East Coast, it makes it a little bit easier for special guests from Germany to come over and join us for Porsche parade.
Now, you can't say that without giving us who's coming.
Well, let's just say we've got some notable VIPs expected to be joining us. Things can change, but right
our
now,
Vice President Ron Gordon coming.
yes,
Our President Aaron is
yes,
coming.
yes. I'm talking about PAG and Porsche family. So be there. Latest update for Treffin at Sea. We are heading to Alaska this year, July 28th through August 4th. We are now up to 680 PCA members coming, and we had a meeting earlier this week and start building the agenda. Obviously, if you go and take a look at what the Majestic does in Alaska, we'll be doing the normal things at the ports and such, but we are building the PCA specific agenda, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully some of you that have not cruised or have wanted to head to Alaska, it is certainly a bucket list
Do you
item.
think you'll see a polar bear? Did he hang around on there?
You will see.
Will they pay someone to get in a polar bear outfit?
You know what? If that's what I got to do to see a polar bear,
You should
then
raise your
I've
hand.
heard polar bears. You do
don't
not
be
want to be
around
around a
them.
polar
I'm not
bear.
saying walk
Like
up
the
and
mean
pet them,
swans.
just from afar.
But I did tell you that they're bringing the puppies that they use to pull the sleds.
Oh.
They're bringing those puppies as part of training them being around people. They bring them onto the ship, and then you can play.
Yeah,
with the
but I
cute
can see
puppies.
that with the Subaru booth at LA Auto Show. I want to see something that could kill me.
All right.
Which could be a pastry, but
Let's see. Man, we've made this one a long one, but hopefully everyone's enjoying it. Before we sign off, I want to point over to the PCA web store. We talked about the Insider bottle and mug, but we also have a PCA Podcast Insider tee. So take a look at that, and if you'd like to order it, just do so online. It'll drop ship right to your front door.
and we get no money from these.
Nope, just for our
swag,
fans.
but you can help the club as a whole.
Represent. Anything else before we sign off, gentlemen? All good?
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head over to PCA.org. We'll set you up with membership. If you're looking for that special Porsche for your driveway or garage, we have the test drive program. Again, PCA.org. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes photos and videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. Be sure to leave us a message or drop an email at podcast@pca.org if you'd like to get a PCA Insider decal. Podcast@pca.org. We will send a couple out to you so you can show your support of the show. And with that, I want to say until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.